Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kieran and I help people using a spiritual perspective. So today I wanted to do a video that I was inspired to do about medical advice, all right, and about the sort of new age spirituality and the way that they handle medical advice and even mental health stuff as well. And basically this video is going to be kind of shitting on that a little bit. It's probably a better way of putting that, but essentially this is a video that's inspired from my own physical trauma, not emotional, right? We're not talking about that stuff in this video, but my own physical trauma and the sort of pseudo-intellectual, pseudo-spiritual ways that have been told to me by friends, actually, by gurus, and you'll find all this stuff on Instagram, right? And basically trying to give explanations for legitimate physical ailments, okay? So I want to preface this by saying, I want to preface this by saying that, of course, there is some truth in, there's truth in a lot of things, but there is some truth in the spiritual way of looking at things. Obviously, that's this whole channel. Right, I mean, if you are going through some type of physical ailment or sickness or something like that. Let's just take something very basic, for instance. A cold. Maybe you have a cold and you've been pushing yourself a lot and maybe you haven't been taking a break. And so you get a cold, maybe you get COVID or something like that, and you are bedridden for anywhere from 3 days to 2 weeks, however long a cold lasts for you, right? And you're forced to slow down. So you can look at that. You can look at the spiritual perspective there, and you can look and see that, oh, okay, maybe I was pushing myself too much, I was doing too much, taking on too many things. Rest is important, and being sick causes you to rest a lot because there's nothing else you can do. So I don't get sick very often, at least not physically sick. Mentally is a different story, but I don't get physically sick very often, like a cold, flu, virus thing. But when I do get it, it's usually because I've been pushing myself a lot. I did get COVID, especially around that time, I was pushing myself a lot. The last time I got sick before that was years ago in Ireland, pushing myself a lot. So there are some true, spiritual meanings behind these things, right? But it becomes very blurred when you get people who aren't medical professionals, who are self-proclaimed gurus on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and YouTube and all this other stuff, and you get them basically telling you, that you should ignore your physical symptoms because the spiritual, if you focus on the spirituality of it all, it'll somehow heal itself. And I would like to say that that's not true. Not strictly speaking, and definitely not in my experience. So to share a little bit of that and why I think this topic is important is because I've had tailbone pain for 3 years, okay? 2018, I think, is when it started, around May, maybe late April. And I can't honestly tell you how it started physically. I think I used to ride a bike at the gym and I might have come down a little bit hard on it. No sexual innuendo implied there. But I think I came down a little bit hard, but that could be true, could not be true. I had no idea. So that year I got an x-ray. Nothing came up, okay? I thought, well, okay, maybe it'll go away on its own. I got a second x-ray maybe 4 months after that. Pain was still there, but nothing, right? Nothing was showing up in the x-ray. So this is about the part where I started to get more into my spiritual journey. In fact, 2018 was really the year that I started to sort of become, spiritual. I started to open my mind to different things, okay? And this was, of course, around the time that you start meeting a lot of spiritual people, a lot of new age people. And at the time, I didn't really have a good bullshit detector for this sort of stuff. I had more faith in it than I suppose I put faith in myself or reality or my own intuition, which happens a lot. So I had friends telling me that my tailbone pain over the past couple of years was, root chakra related. Had to do with, something maybe like financial, had to do with not feeling safe, not doing this, and all of those things, of course, have an emotional impact on your life, for instance, right? So the root chakra thing definitely has been a theme throughout my life if we're going to focus on what that means. But these people, these friends at the time, really presenting it as if you can just heal all of this stuff with your spiritual mindset, with your breathing, with your crystals, with your chakra clearing and stuff like that, and just the power of your thoughts and your beliefs. And that's an extremely dangerous precedent that has been set by this sort of New Age spiritual community. And I don't exactly know where it all started, the history behind it. I mean, the New Age movement came from the 70s, but this idea, I think it really has been amplified with this online presence. I mean, you can get an 18-year-old, 19-year-old with no real experience in life, with 400,000 subscribers on Instagram or something, followers or whatever. All these, it doesn't matter what the number is, but people with no experience at a young age basically just saying all of this spiritual shit, and people eat it up. They eat it up as if it was chocolate ice cream. And they love it, and they want sprinkles and more chocolate sauce, and please can I have doubles? And they just eat it, and they eat it, and they eat it, right? But the reality is that that's really dangerous, because eventually I had to take things more seriously. The advice that I was getting from people that maybe had good intentions was very incorrect, and it was dangerous to believe them. And by putting my faith in those things, I really had a hard time. It lasted a long time probably because of that. And so recently, this year, I've taken it much more seriously. I've had CAT scans and MRIs, and they've actually revealed that there is a real problem, right? Whereas before, these spiritual friends of mine, these gurus and all these other people, they were denying the fact that it even existed at all, that there couldn't have been a physical reason. It was, the tailbone was because my root chakra was imbalanced, right? And even if that was the case, don't you think maybe a spiritual, reason would also have a physical manifestation, right? And that's what people tend to forget at the spiritual journey, is that they want to just look at the spiritual aspects of things, but they don't really want to look at reality. They don't want to look at the material world as well, but that is just kind of as important as the way that you perceive things, because you have to perceive things in reality. So certainly there is some truth to looking at things from a spiritual perspective, obviously, looking at things from an emotional point of view. But I had, friends telling me, oh, it was because that, because you don't have money, so your root chakra is being affected, so that's why you have tailbone pain. And I thought, that doesn't even make sense, I mean, there were times in my life I was more broke than I was at the time when they were saying this, and I didn't have tailbone pain. And then even when I did have tailbone pain, there were times where I had lots of money, lots of security. And other times when I had none. And the tailbone pain was exactly the same. It was there the whole time. It was this actual thing that the MRIs and this CAT scans, right, they actually revealed things, right? Now I'm still in the process of doing some stuff about that. I'm going to a physical therapist and talking about some injections and stuff today. But in any case, the point is that there is actual physical evidence now that there is something going on with my tailbone, and I suspect that it's broken, because it feels like it's sort of pushing in and out of place. So it hurts to sit down, It's a big reason why I don't do these videos as much, to be honest. It's a big reason why I don't do as many things as I can, because it pretty much is uncomfortable to do a lot of stuff. I can still, obviously lay down doesn't hurt too much, but obviously there is some physical evidence, right? And I know other people who still tell people to ignore their own physical body, and it blows my mind, because part of this process of, let's say, being awake or awake and going through a spiritual journey, part of this process is trusting in yourself, right? You're not supposed to just put blind faith into everything outside of you, because you're the observer here. You're the one that's having this experience. So say if there is something spiritual going on in your life, physically you might look at it as your intuition, your own body, your own soul trying to push you to make a better change or to do something different with your body, right? I mean, a lot of these New Age spiritual people will think like, oh, you have back pain, or well then you must be carrying anger inside of you, and it's like, no, I just I just came back from doing back day at the gym. Like I've had people tell me this stuff, and it's insane to just blanket it with this sort of pseudo-intellectual spiritual crap because it doesn't make sense. And so often I've seen intelligent people, because they're into this whole concept, ignore practical medical advice and just ignore science altogether. And I would like to honestly talk about that. Like, why have people just decided all of a sudden that because you want to believe in spiritual things that science just is irrelevant, that it hasn't gotten us this far? I mean, you have to keep in mind science is the thing that has gotten you to the point where you're still alive, and it's like the human lifespan used to be like 30, or it was 50, it was 60, but it's like 89 as a world average, people live to be 100 with modern medicine. They live to be older. We can take care of sicknesses, diseases, things that used to kill us. If you can't see, that's okay because you have contacts, right? I have pretty bad vision, but glasses, and I have contacts. And I could, if I wanted to, get LASIK eye surgery, right? Even dental problems. I don't have very good teeth. Chalk that up to being Irish and poor dental habits when I was a child. But the point is, if I had enough money, I could go fix all of this. You know what I mean? And that would be okay, right? And so probably one day I will. And we have braces, but you have all this stuff. You have modern medicine, technology. It has allowed us to leave mean YouTube comments while taking a shit. And that's, wow, what a great world we live in, right? Well, science is part of this. Science has gotten us to this point. So it doesn't make sense to ignore it. It doesn't make sense to not seek out practical medical advice, right? The spiritual reasons behind things go along with it. It isn't just the answer. It's a perspective, and people seem to forget that. They want to talk about, the pain that you're experiencing, your physical pain, it's a manifestation of something else. It's a spiritual thing, right? And cancer patients will be told to just believe in the power of thought, believe in the affirmations, and then you know what happens is they'll die of cancer, because that's what happens. That's what happens. I have so many stories of that, of just knowing people who didn't want to, for whatever reason, didn't want to trust medical advice or take medication or go through things like chemotherapy, and they ended up dying just because they believed in some sort of new age philosophy, whereas the people who went through the process actually survived. Now, it's not to say that some people aren't going to get better, or the people that do take chemo won't actually die also, right? I'm not here to talk about black and white. I'm here to talk about reality. And the reality is that you shouldn't ignore medical opinions, medical advice, especially if you yourself feel there is something wrong. I mean, it blows my mind to think about the friends that I have had, the trusted people in my life who, again, good intentions, I'm sure, tell me blatant shit that they had no evidence at all, just, root chakra stuff, but once I actually can see the evidence, it's like, no, there actually is a legitimate problem. It made me feel like I wasn't crazy anymore. And there's other people, like sort of YouTubers or people that help other people through different platforms and stuff. Like this guy, Jeff Foster. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. I really recommend his videos, but I think he had like Lyme disease, some type of severe type of Lyme disease for a year. And he was talking about how all of these people basically just tried to give him phony medical advice under the guise of spirituality, telling him it was all in his head. It's just a spiritual, emotional thing. But no, like he actually had to get real treatment. And, I've known people who have gotten bitten by black widow spiders. And because they're all new age now, they don't trust any medicine. So they didn't want to take the medicine for the spider bite. And it's like you're bitten by a poisonous, or not poisonous. Is it poisonous? It's not venomous, right? Bitten by a poisonous spider. Let's just say poisonous for now. It could be venomous. I don't know. I think venom is from within and poison's on the skin. Oh, that rhymed. Look at that. Dr. Seuss, except with a bigger penis. All right. So anyway, the point is that whatever it is, venomous or poisonous, she didn't want to listen. She didn't want to take the medicine. So she just suffered because of it. And this is a thing that's prevailing throughout the entire sort of community. And it's kind of disturbing to see because it's not good. It's not good because there's real problems going on with people that require real solutions. And the spiritual meaning behind your physical pain could just simply be, more than anything else, hey, take care of yourself. And that's pretty fair, because the tailbone pain for me, the spiritual reason isn't all the root chakra, all the chakra crap, okay? It has nothing to do with that. It's the taking care of yourself thing. And that's really all it is, okay? Because the New Age way of looking at things takes words that have already existed and just twists them, changes them, puts them in a different sort of font and setting and words and changes it around. But it's all the same stuff. You know, clearing your chakras. What that really means is taking care of yourself. But when you focus on the clearing your chakra part, you get caught up in the spirituality of it all. And you forget the practical method, the how to do things on your own. You forget the responsibility. So having all this tailbone pain, nothing to do with the root chakra, but it has a lot to do with maintaining a diet, a healthy diet, because it hurts more when I do something like eat gluten, right? Breads and stuff. It hurts like 30% more. When I don't do yoga, so it helps me to stretch and do yoga and things like that, okay? And that makes me feel better, so it's this natural thing. And then obviously, you know, avoiding certain things, like when I would smoke weed, it would make it hurt a lot more. And usually, right, people will prescribe marijuana for pain relief a lot of the time, but it actually made it worse for me, right? So you can't just buy into all the crap different people are saying. You have to do your own research. You have to take advantage of your own intellect. Pay attention to the spiritual side of things, but often it's going to be very personal. It's not really going to have anything to do with with the sort of exterior New Age way of looking at things, which is just religion and God rebranded 2.0. Okay, it's not anything to do with what's going on with you, because it actually is really hard to get help. Okay, even mental help, right? Shifting onto the mental aspect of things. It's hard getting a therapist. It's hard getting psychiatric help, and people will say like, "Oh, you don't need that. You need a coach, or you need a spiritual coach." And I say this as somebody who is an empowerment coach, or I like helping people through that, right? But what do I know about your bipolar disorder? Okay, I'm not here to tell you that that's not real. I don't understand all of the science behind things, so why would I then claim to know all of the spirituality at the same time? How can I? Maybe in 20 years I'll have even a better idea, but I'm not going to presume to know anything. I'm 28 years old, and even at 35, I'm still probably going to be going through a process of, oh, I used to know that and now I don't, because that's the way my life is. That's what the spiritual journey is. Every time you think you know something, life steps in to humble you, because you really don't. I know as much as I do now to realize that I don't know anything at all. Okay, that's how much I know. So in that vein, people who want to seek help, it's difficult. It's really difficult, right? A therapist, you have your insurance, and it'll give you a list of 100 places. And then 50 of them are taking your insurance, okay? And then this is in a 50-mile radius, so then 25 of them are close to you. And then out of that 25, maybe like 10 of them or 15 of them are accepting new patients. And then you have 15 choices, and then you call those choices, and this is real experience. You call them, and then they go like, oh, we're actually here for, this is an autistic place for kids with autism. And I don't think I have autism, but I'm certainly not a kid. And so, it narrows it again. So now you have 4 or 5 choices left. And now you basically have these 3, 4, 5 choices, and now you have to decide like between these 3 to 5 people if they're okay, for you. Because therapy is like, what are you supposed to do? Just take what you get, right? You're supposed to resonate with the person. And the same thing happens with coaching. There's times where I have clients where I don't really like them. And maybe they would be best for somebody else, just like me, for somebody else as well, a different client. And so it can be difficult, really, even finding help. But to ignore it altogether is, dangerous, because by the same vein, people will tell you, oh, don't seek out help. Don't seek out help, right? Don't look to medical advice. Don't look to this. Everything can be solved spiritually. But that's not true. This is just not true. Spirituality is here as a connection for you to yourself. That's it. It's not about a connection to you and your God, to you and your belief system, to all your little opinions. It's about how to connect to yourself in the deepest possible way. And if that is really your intent and your goal and what you're aiming to achieve, then your life is constantly going to be in motion and you're constantly going to be growing. And your ideas and opinions and perceptions are constantly going to be expanded, opened, destroyed, rebirthed, okay? Because you're trying to get yourself, you're trying to know yourself on a deeper level. Okay, and you can't do that by blindly having faith about things. So this video is really here as just a cautionary tale that I don't want anybody to make the same mistakes that I have done, which is to ignore practical medical advice, ignore science, ignore reality, and shun things and put things aside because they aren't positive, spiritual, new age, hippie-ish, power of positive thinking, law of attraction stuff, right? Don't make the same mistake I did, because it took me roughly around 3 years to start taking this stuff seriously, all because I believed a lot of this other stuff. And that's on me. I take responsibility for that. But it also is being peddled out a lot. So my level of bullshit detector, as I mentioned before, did get a little bit stronger, right? And that's good because I have that type of character, but some people don't, okay? And if you right now are watching this video and you're wondering about something you're going through physically, okay, there may be a spiritual reason, but there's going to be a physical one as well, more often than not. Sometimes things are nothing, but you shouldn't be looking for explanations in the dark, okay? Try to shed some light before you start making assumptions, all right? So that's what this video is about. I hope it was helpful. I hope you guys have a good day. I don't know what day it is. I think it's Wednesday, but I hope you guys have a good one, all right? We'll talk soon, guys. Bye-bye.